Welcome to Make It Yourself Living, and in this video we're going to be making Asian veggies. Now, what do I call it? Asian veggies? Don't know what else to call it, so Asian veggies it is. Here you see about a pound, pound and a half of pork loin. I normally use pork loin. I usually buy a big old pork loin from Costco and cut it up. I did throw some oil in there, a tablespoon, maybe two, because pork loin doesn't have a lot of fat to it. And if you don't, you're going to wind up burning stuff. So a little bit of oil. And in a moment, you're going to see me plop in some garlic. Now, I like garlic, so I'll put in quite a bit, maybe the equivalent of 3 cloves. You don't have to put in that much. You can back off if you want. Couple of cloves, or maybe you don't want any garlic at all. It's entirely up to you. Now I'm using minced garlic, but you can use powdered garlic too if you want. And then after the minced garlic, you're going to see me throw in a little ginger. Normally I'll just use there's the garlic. I'm just trying to show you. Normally I'll just use the powdered ginger, but I saw I had some in the fridge, so wanted to use it up before it got bad. So this is just ginger. I would say if you're going to grate a fresh ginger, it would probably be the equivalent of a ½ inch medallion. When I say medallion, if you cut a ½ inch off of ginger root, that's about how much you're going to see here. And you could just grind that up on a rasp grater. So that's going to show up in a moment. Of course, all this is going to get heated up and cooked. There's the ginger I was talking about. You don't have to buy minced ginger, and you don't have to buy fresh ginger. You can use the powdered stuff too. Things are beginning to heat up. That's the reason I'm mixing stuff around. I don't like to cook the meat until it's entirely cooked, because that just makes stuff kind of rubbery. I like to get it to about 90%. Then when I throw everything else in, it actually cooks even longer. So by the time dinner's ready, everything is fine. So you can put salt and pepper in if you wish. I kind of hold off on the salt, definitely because of high blood pressure issues in the family. As I mentioned, I don't like to cook this to the point of being totally done. I also don't worry too much about browning with this dish because we're going to be throwing teriyaki sauce over everything, and you're not going to really see how pretty the meat is anyway. So I cook this to about 90% done before continuing on. Okay, here you're seeing me put in some frozen vegetables. Now, this is what I had in the freezer. It's a stir-fried veggies, and it's going to come out, and you're going to see how badly freezer burned it was. But it does do rehydrate after a while. But what I would suggest is get yourself one of those small package of veggies, Asian veggies, and just toss them in. This will take a little while, but honestly, are we truly in a rush? If you didn't want to spend the time sitting there waiting for your veggies to cook, you could always get one of those veggies that you could toss into a microwave and microwave them for a few minutes and then just dump them on top. And that would make it go a lot quicker. Because after the veggies are done, then what we're going to be doing is putting the teriyaki sauce on it. One thing I'm going to do that you're not going to see here is I am cooking a pot of fettuccine noodles. That'll go along with this, and you'll see that shortly. But my setup doesn't allow me to have that kind of a view, so we're making the main part here, and I have some fettuccine actually cooking. Don't worry about the liquid either. If your frozen veggies are really frozen like mine, it'll burn off. It's no big deal. Besides, when I put the teriyaki sauce in, I usually use a little water to rinse out the bottles anyway. So what would the cost of this whole thing be? Well, if we had about a pound and a half of pork, with today's prices, I'd say you can probably get that for maybe $7, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on where you go for it. We also have a bag of vegetables. That could be a couple of dollars, so let's say $10 total. There is a box of fettuccine that I use. We'll add another dollar for that, so $11. And the most expensive besides the meat is going to be the teriyaki sauce, and that's going to depend on how many bottles you want to put in. You'll see me put 2 in, but I kind of like it a little saucy. You don't have to put 2 in, because what happens anyway after the fettuccine get in there, it'll sop up all that teriyaki sauce anyway. When it reheats, or when I reheat this like the day after, a little bit of butter in the bowl works really well. We'll be getting to the point where I start dumping in some teriyaki sauce, and I'll show you the type that I use. It's Kikkoman. The reason I go after this particular brand is because my kids were young when I started making it. You know how some teriyaki sauce are more geared toward adults that really don't have much sweetness to them. And I found the Kikkoman, yeah, a little sugar, but it was a little easier for me to get my kids to eat it using that kind of teriyaki sauce. Does it have to be teriyaki sauce? I don't believe so. I think this could probably do pretty well with a sweet and sour sauce, or possibly a General Tso sauce, or a Szechuan sauce would work. It'd make it pretty hot, but it would still work. So basically, you've got your pork and your vegetables and your sauce, and it's all going to get mixed in with your noodles. So it's a noodle dish. And I always want to give credit. I originally saw this in a magazine called Fast and Healthy. I honestly am not even sure they're still in publication or not, but it was a really quick little thing that some mom was trying to put together for their kids. So it's a very, very quick dinner. And yes, it's using a pre-bottled sauce, but we don't eat this all the time. This is a once in a while deal. Now, I did say I didn't want to cook it very long as far as the meat, but I believe I wanted to get rid of some of the liquid, not have as much liquid in when I tossed in the sauce. Or I could have been multitasking and failing miserably. Here we go. Kikkoman teriyaki based in glaze. Like I was mentioning, experiment with different types of sauce. And I'll usually rinse it out with a little bit of water. There's the water, and like I mentioned, I do use 2. I like it saucy. You don't have to use 2. You can make this with just 1. Give it the flavor without all the extra sauce. And there goes the second. I'll have that filled up with a little water too. Now I do lower it a bit. At this point, all we're really wanting to do is heat everything up and let it all the flavors meld together. And you really only need to heat it, but I am waiting on the noodles, so I'll put it on low and pretty much let it sit here while I'm waiting to finish. Could you put other types of veggies in here? You can put whatever your heart desires. If you decide not to make it so Asian, maybe you found a different type of sauce, put the accompanying veggies down. Real quick meal. So as soon as the noodles are done, I'm going to be dumping this wonderful mess within the noodles, and we are going to have dinner. As I was mentioning, all the ingredients are going to run you about $15. I don't believe more than 20. It will feed a family of 4 because that's our family. I have men in my house, so you know that they are actually eating. It feeds them quite well. And it does leave us leftovers for the next day. Now, this whole dinner is going to take maybe 40 minutes maybe to make. This actual video ran a little over an hour, and that's only because in the beginning, when you saw me just kind of sitting there mixing stuff around, I forgot to turn the stove on. So it lasted a little longer than I anticipated, but I wasn't too worried because I knew I could always speed past those items. So it takes about 40 minutes, but it's really, really very simple to throw together. As this finishes up, I just want to add, as always, if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up. If you want to see what else we're going to come up with, please feel free to subscribe. Or if you have something you'd like to see, please leave it down in the comments. I'll do my best to try and come up with stuff. I do believe at this point the noodles are finished and I am draining them. So what you're going to see is I'll be moving this pan and putting the pot with the noodles in its place and then mixing it all together. Once it's mixed all together, then it's dinner time. There are the noodles I was speaking about. They're fettuccine noodles. Cook them about 10-12 minutes. Then just dump the mixture on top. And then once everything's mixed in or on top, go ahead and mix it in and it's dinner time. And I want to thank you for being part of this video today and I hope you enjoy it. I truly do. As always, I'm just trying to share. If you can find ways to make improvements, by all means, please. You don't have to use fettuccine noodles. I've done it with the angel hair, but you have to be careful with that kind because it can overcook really fast. Thank you. Bye-bye.